Hello and welcome. This is the news on NTA International. I am Lami Ali. Let's take the headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari tasks Presidential Amnesty Program Interim Management and Peace in the Niger Delta. Ondo State sets for governorship election. Its police and other security agencies collaborate towards peaceful polls. Also on the news, federal government sets to unbundle Nigeria Postal Service to create 3 subsidiaries for effective service delivery. President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the interim management team of the Presidential Amnesty Program of the Niger Delta to effectively utilize the instrumentality of the peace-building infrastructure towards guaranteeing the desired security and stability for enhanced economic development in the region. Granting audience to the new interim administrator of the program, retired Colonel Milan Dixon Dikio, the president insists that sustainable livelihoods must be given to the ex-agitators as peaceful members of the society and net contributors to the economy. State House correspondent Adam Sambu has the details.
Appointed interim administrator of the amnesty program in August this year, following recommendations by the National Security Advisor Babagana Munguno, retired Colonel Dixon Dikio is here to share with President Muhammadu Buhari the extent of the rot inherited and plans towards restoring sanity, stability and sustainable development.
The program as currently structured is not sustainable and cannot deliver desired long-term benefits to the region and the country. We are going to rejig the structure to make it slimmer and more efficient. And the vision of the administration is to refocus the amnesty program to its original mandate of development and security in the region.
He promised to ensure that the mandate of the amnesty program is fully restored to its original intent of delivering service to the Niger Delta region where the ex-agitators are domiciled.
We shall be more in the Niger Delta than in Abuja. Ultimately, it's our firm belief that working with the various governments in the region, we can make the Niger Delta the most secure place to live and do business in Nigeria.
For President Muhammadu Buhari, the amnesty program must deliver sustainable peace and human development through a transparent process that ensures that all resources are effectively utilized for purposes intended, as explained by the National Security Advisor Babagana Munguno.
Mr. President has promised to support him in this very enormous undertaking to ensure that the people of the Niger Delta get the help that they really need, they badly need. So basically the endemic corruption that has scuttled this program and frustrated the people of the Niger Delta is going to be addressed as soon as possible.
He said over 700 billion naira has been wasted since the program started 11 years ago as a result of corruption and mismanagement. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya of Gombe State is soliciting the support of the federal government towards addressing the huge environmental and humanitarian challenges confronting the state. The governor, who was granted audience by President Muhammadu Buhari, also made a case for exploration and exploitation of oil and gas deposits in Gombe and entire Gongola Basin for enhanced economic fortunes. That report will come to you in our subsequent bulletin. Now, South Africa President and Chairperson of the African Union, Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, has congratulated Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala on her advancement to the third and final stage of the selection process for the position of the Director General of the World Trade Organization. Debola Brooklyn Sunday brings us the report.
On behalf of the African Union,
President Cyril described Dr. Okonjo-Iweala as a highly distinguished African who has excelled in various public offices in Nigeria, the AU, World Bank, and other international assignments. The chairperson encouraged all member states of the African Union to rally round Dr. Okonjo Iweala during the final round of nominations, which will see for the first time in the history of the World Trade Organization the appointment of a female director general, and most likely and preferably one coming from the African continent. WTO female candidates, Nigeria's Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and South Korea's Yoo Moon-hee, entered the final round of the race to become the new Director General of the World Trade Organization. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and Yoo Moon-hee advanced to the third and final stage of the consultations. Other 6 contestants were ruled out of further competition. Roberto Azevedo's successor is expected to be selected by November 7 under an agreed elimination process based on consensus. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
The countdown to the Ondo governorship election is no longer in days but hours. Mie Ogidi in this report takes us through some details of the election and efforts made so far by security agencies and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
Ondo State is where everyone that has taken politics to heart looks at this moment. Excellent performance in previous exercise places one at the position of a defending champion. The September 17th Edo governorship election is the minimum standard going forward.
So we are hoping that looking at Ondo, the professionalism that the police brought to bear in Edo will manifest even much more in Ondo.
And the commendation from the election is the challenge for INEC and the security agencies ahead of the Ondo governorship election. Though Ondo State is the sunshine state, but INEC and the security agencies are not relying entirely on the sunny weather, because weather can change anytime. So, a platform was created for handshake among the 17 contestants in a state that has 18 local government areas, with 1,822,346 voting population. Only 1,478,460 have collected their permanent voters' cards. So, 343,886 may have to be on the spectators' corner. And for those going to vote, police deploys 33,783 personnel and will be complemented by 3,500 manpower from other sister agencies, while the military is to provide guidance for the electoral materials and be in charge of interstate borders. More than 5,000 smart card readers were destroyed by fire last month in Ondo State, but all have been replaced, INEC confirmed. And the Z-Pad, that is INEC result viewing portal, is now on, and as of 12 noon Thursday, 8th of October 2020, about 80,000 viewers have registered. The President, improving on the electoral process in the country, is non-negotiable.
I have followed events in Ondo State on the governorship election. My focus and attention has been to ensure that we maximize every given opportunity to raise the bar in our collective desire to entrench democracy.
The governorship election in Edo State was a great outing, and Ondo State is expected to be greater. And that is the challenge before INEC and the security agencies. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
In another development, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has condemned the unprovoked and violent attack on policemen and damage to police assets by NSAS protesters in Ogeli, Delta State. A statement by the force says the incident resulted in the unfortunate death of a police personnel attached to A Division, Ogeli, Delta State, as he was attacked and brutally murdered by the protesters, with another sergeant left with serious body injury. The protesters also carted away one service AK-47 rifle with 25 rounds of live ammunition that was with the deceased at the time of the incident. The IGP described the incident as cruel and unwarranted, warning that the force will no longer tolerate any attack on its personnel. He directed the Commissioner of Police Delta State to carry out a discreet investigation into the unfortunate incident. And owing to the forthcoming Ondo gubernatorial election billed to hold tomorrow, the Commercial Federal Road Safety Corps, Dr. Boboye Oyeyemi, has ordered operatives of the Corps drafted to cover the election to ensure effective collaboration with the Nigerian police force in the enforcement of restrictions on vehicular movements. In a statement by BC Kazim, the Corps Public Education Officer, the Corps operatives drafted to cover the election have equally been mandated to clear obstructions from the road, carry out rescue operations in case of emergencies, maintain orderliness in polling booths, and the certification of INEC vehicles that will be used to convey electoral materials. Now, the federal government is set to unbundle the Nigeria Postal Service in an effort to reposition the agency to meet contemporary service delivery. Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Alipantami, at an event to mark World Post Day in Abuja, said a bill to drive the expected reforms in NIPOS is in the offing. Kelvin Ebonwai reports.
3 subsidiaries are to emerge from NIPOS: Transport and Logistics Company, NIPOS Property and Development Company, and NIPOS Microfinance Bank. They are conceived to inject new life into the postal agency, which the minister says faces great challenge to remain relevant in the face of emerging technologies in mail delivery services.
Mandate and the responsibility of postal agencies goes beyond only dispatching mails.
Whatever reforms they are going to bring, we are all on board, and we really want to make sure that NIPOS becomes independent.
A compendium of 100 years of postage stamp in Nigeria was launched, documenting commemorative stamps in Nigeria's history. As the world continues to battle the COVID-19 pandemic, the Universal Postal Union Director General, Bisha Hussein, in a message to mark the day, paid tributes to millions of postal workers around the world who have braved the odds to continue to deliver the maize in difficult conditions. In Abuja, Kelvin Ebonwai, NTA News.
And joining us in the studio is the Postmaster General of the Federation, Dr. Ismail Adebayo Adewusi, to speak more on the World Post Day and expected reforms in NIPOS. Dr. Adewusi, you're welcome to the studios of NTA International.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's look at the postal service worldwide in the era of COVID-19 pandemic. How essential is the postal service at a time like this?
Thank you very much. The postal service the world over faced the greatest challenge during the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still on. And during this period, it became so difficult for the postmen and operators of the sector across the globe to move mails from one point to the other due to the closure of various countries' airspaces and even land borders. So it was the most very difficult time for most operators during the pandemic, but nevertheless, mails continued to move because in difficult times, in hard times, we believe that mails must move, and that is why the 192 member Universal Postal Union, a specialized organ of the United Nations, in celebrating and commemorating the World Post Day, established in October 9, 1874, is using this year. The theme of this year is Beyond the Mail.
All right, let's now look at the issue at the moment, that is the proposed unbundling of NIPOS.
Yeah.
How will that impact on service delivery?
Most definitely, it's going to impact positively in service delivery, because once the agency is unbundled into these subsidiary companies, they will be commercialized and they will compete in the marketplace with other operators. In other words, they will be in a better position to operate more efficiently, deliver service as it is done in the private sector without the bureaucracy of the civil service. So we expect that the NIPOS, when it is fully unbundled and the unbundling becomes operational, is going to compete in the marketplace and do well in providing quality service to our numerous millions of customers.
Now, going forward, where do you see the place of NIPOS in an era where various technologies have taken the place of letter writing?
Well, I have said this time and again that the disruptive technology brought by the internet has provided even greater opportunity for an agency like Nigerian Postal Service, as it is the practice in the entire world. Because we now have a lot of new product initiatives. The e-commerce is there, which is booming by the day. The logistics business is there. Financial services is there. We have quite a number of alternatives to our established and normal business. So there's no problem at all. We'll even get bigger and more stronger going forward.
We thank you very much, Dr. Adewusi, for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you.
I've been speaking with the Postmaster General on the proposed unbundling of NIPOS. You're watching the news on NTA International. We're going for a short break now. More reports when we return. Do stay tuned. Many thanks for joining us again. The Federal Ministry of Works has appealed to motorists plying Mursala Mohammed Bridge, Jamata, Kogi State, to endure for a while as work on the superstructure highway will be on hold due to the high water level of River Niger. Director Highways, Bridges and Design, Emmanuel Adewi, made the appeal while on an on-the-spot assessment of the ongoing maintenance of the bridge. Jacob Sani reports.
The Murtala Bridge in Kogi State was constructed some decades ago to link the north and the southern parts of the country with ease. But record shows that the bridge has not experienced any major maintenance until the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. The poor state of the road and gaps at intersections of the bridge had impeded free flow of traffic, usually causing gridlock at peak periods and road accidents.
The bridge is okay as we are doing it. I thank God about the bridge because as I saw the bridge before, it was getting much cracked.
The Federal Ministry of Works says Murtala Mohammed Bridge, located between Jamata and Kotokarifi along Abuja Road, needs reinforcement and replacement underneath the bridge. But force will not allow much progress on the project for now, hence the surface work.
Before the rains came, that around that May, June, they did a lot of underwater works. Then when we get towards November, December again, they will go on to continue the underwater.
Commuters were advised to make use of one lane on the bridge while the major maintenance lasts. In Lokoja, Jacob Sani, NTA News.
President Trump has been cleared by his doctor to resume public engagements, but there are still unanswered questions about his health. This is just as China signs an agreement officially joining the COVAX initiative led by the World Health Organization, which aims to provide worldwide access to effective COVID-19 vaccines. Details of these and other COVID-19 updates with Justin Bam-Uyi.
President Trump's doctor have affirmed that the president has completed his treatments to alleviate the symptoms of the coronavirus and that he anticipates that the president will be able to resume public engagements on Saturday. The forecast about Mr. Trump's condition came from the White House physician, Dr. Sean Conley, in a note updating people on his health. However, White House officials have declined to say when he last tested negative. In the note, Dr. Conley said that Mr. Trump has remained stable and devoid of symptoms that would suggest the illness was progressing. Meanwhile, China, which has at least 4 coronavirus vaccine candidates in the last stage of clinical trials, said it is joining an international initiative to distribute COVID-19 vaccines to countries worldwide, known as COVAX, a move that may help the country find an international market for its coronavirus shots. China's foreign ministry said the country signed an agreement with Gavi, the co-leader of the project. Initially, China did not agree to join the alliance after missing an early deadline to join in September. In the meantime, the world recorded its highest number of daily COVID-19 cases since the pandemic began on Thursday, according to the World Health Organization. And the second wave of the virus in Europe is fueling the surge. As a region, Europe is now reporting more daily infections than the United States, Brazil, and India, the countries that have been driving the global case count for months. And just before we go, let's have a look at Worldometer dashboard as at 6 p.m. where global confirmed coronavirus cases were recorded to be 36,940,925, with 1,069,424 deaths and 27,779,592 recoveries. Meanwhile, the African CDC dashboard showed 1,548,909 confirmed coronavirus cases, 37,402 deaths and 1,286,435 recoveries. This is just as the Nigerian Center for Disease Control recorded 59,841 confirmed coronavirus cases, 1,113 deaths and 51,551 recoveries. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Justin Bemui.
Now, global GDP is projected to rise from around $121 trillion in 2019 to more than $258 trillion in 2045, based on 2011 purchasing power parity. This is contained in the 2020 World Oil Outlook 2045 by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. Despite the huge drop in 2020, OPEC forecasts that global primary energy demands will continue growing in the medium and long term. Leah Katung Babatunde completes the report.
As experts continue to look at post-COVID-19 situations around the world, OPEC says the global economy in 2045 will be more than double the size it was in 2019. Global primary energy demand is forecast to increase from 289 million barrels of oil equivalent per day in 2019 to 361 in 2045, representing an average growth rate of 0.9% per annum over the forecast period. In the 25 years projections, oil will remain the fuel with the largest share of the global energy mix, assuming that the COVID-19 pandemic is largely overcome by next year. Oil demand is projected to partly recover in 2021. OPEC in the outlook says natural gas will be the fastest growing fossil fuel between 2019 and 2045, and coal will be the only primary fuel for which demand declines between 2019 and 2045, and this is as a result of shutdowns and replacement of coal-fired power plants in the OECD region, coupled with the introduction of more energy-efficient technologies in developing regions as carbon abatement is prioritized. Oil demand growth is expected to recover during the medium term. Annual increments will be relatively high, especially in 2022 and 2023. In the long term, oil demand is projected to reach 109.1 million barrels per day by 2045. However, global oil demand will plateau during the second half of the outlook period. Cumulative oil-related investment requirements over the long term will be $12.6 trillion. Asia-Pacific remains the most important crude oil importing region throughout the forecast period, with imports rising more than 6 million barrels per day. OPEC's world outlook is part of the organization's commitment to market stability. Leah Katung Babatunde, NTA News.
And sports update is next with Badi Ajilia.